Hey all, Eduardo Talbert here for monstertutorials.com. In today's tutorial we're going to learn how to make nose and scar wax. It is also called mortician's putty, which is pretty creepy. When somebody dies and has some sort of trauma to their face, maybe a gunshot wound, that's what they use to patch it up so it looks like skin. But it's also used for makeup. That's what I use it for. I don't patch dead people, but I do make makeup like cuts and bruises. So in this tutorial we're going to learn how to make this yourself because it's pretty expensive if you buy it. And then at the end of the video, if you hang on, there is a small tutorial on how to make a simple cut that I do on my hand. Now with this kind of nose and scar wax, you can make stuff like this, or this, or something like this. So stay tuned while we make this wax. Super easy, only takes a couple minutes, and then I'll show you how to make a simple cut. So see you at the studio. For this tutorial you'll need some cornstarch, some petroleum jelly, any kind is fine. We're going to need some sort of foundation. My wife told me I could use some of this. It's kind of pale for my skin tone, so she also let me borrow some mineral powders that are like these little pigments to give it a little bit more color. So I'm going to add some of these purple color, and then there's a darker cinnamon color. And this is just to pigment the wax to match my skin tone. You will also need a little bowl to mix everything up, some popsicle sticks, and a spoon. I'm using the spoon just to measure the ingredients. So we start with the cornstarch, and we're going to start with a ratio of 2 to 1. So I'm using 2 spoonfuls of cornstarch for 1 spoonful of petroleum jelly. So adjust this as you need. If you need the wax to be a little bit harder and drier, just put more cornstarch, or put more petroleum jelly if you want it a little bit softer and more pliable. So we're going to add this into a little bowl, and we're going to, this is pretty much all you have to do for the wax itself. Now to pigment it, I'm just adding about 1/8 of a teaspoon of foundation. This stuff will go a long way, so a little bit is more than enough. And to darken it, I'm going to use some of the mineral powders. And it requires just a tiny little bit. Again, I'm just trying to match it to my skin tone, so try to match yours by adjusting or match the person on who you're doing the makeup. So that's the cinnamon color, and now I'm adding the purple color to it. After we add it, all we're going to do is mix it really well. This should take just a couple minutes, but I am going to speed through the video as we mix the wax. And once you're done mixing, that is pretty much it. I'm going to take the mixed wax and roll it into a ball. And this is just for easy storage. So once I have the wax done, you're pretty much done. Now as a tip, just use one of these pill boxes to store your wax. That's where I keep it in my drawer. When I need it, I'll just pull it out and it stays fresh and clean. So that's it. That's how you make nose and scar wax. That's how easy it is to make scar wax. As you can see, it only takes a couple minutes. So now let's get to the cut tutorial. For this cut, what we will need is some of the wax we just made. Then we're going to need some sort of spatulas. I'm using these, but a plastic knife will do, or a popsicle stick. This is just for smoothing. I'm going to use a cuticle pusher thing tool some toothpicks. I have some black paint. This is just your regular Walmart Clown Kids paint. It's black. Then some petroleum jelly, a sponge to help with the texture, to take down the shine of the wax, some fake blood, and in the background a little bit of liquid latex. So I'm going to pick some of the wax that matches my skin better where I'm doing the cut. As you can see, I put a tiny little layer of liquid latex on my hand, and that is so that the wax sticks a little bit better. This is an optional step, but I found that it helps a bit. I'm going to pinch a little bit off and just place it right where I want the cut. As you can see, the liquid latex just grabs the wax. Now I'm going to take some petroleum jelly and put it on my spatula. This way the spatula slides over the wax and the wax doesn't stick to the spatula and stays on my hand. So we're going to smooth outwards, keeping the bulk of the wax in the middle so we can make the cut there. So just match it to your skin, feather it really smooth until you can barely see it. I'm going to take the cuticle pushing tool, or whatever this thing is. So it's not sharp, so I'm going to make the cut on my hand. I'm going to do an S cut so it looks a little bit more natural than just perfectly straight cut. Now make sure you feather the edges so that it looks a little bit more natural. So once you have your cut, I'm going to take a little bit of the black makeup and I'm going to apply it to the deepest part of the cut. And what this does, it makes the cut look deeper. I'm using a toothpick for this. I'm just carefully kind of applying the makeup to the very deepest part of the cut. So once we're done applying that, we're going to go for the blood. At this point, oh, I forgot, I'm going to use the sponge to kind of match the texture of my hand and not leave a shiny wax. So now we go for the blood, and all I'm going to do is apply it to the inside of the cut, but I am not going to fill up the cut. I want the edges to stick out so it looks like a really deep cut. I'm going to carefully place it on the inside and just run it along the cut. The other thing I'm going to do is just add some blood smeared all over the hand. Since the natural reaction of somebody that cuts themselves is to grab their hand, you would pretty much smear the blood all over yourself. If your blood is beading, make sure to, because of the petroleum jelly, just use a little bit of dish soap or some other surfactant that will break the surface tension of the blood. And there you have it. That's a smeared cut. Looks pretty deep. And that is it. That's how easy it is. All you have to do is get creative with the uses of your wax, and you can do all kinds of cool things, and for very cheap. For the removal, I'm going to dab with a paper towel the blood all around just to make it a little bit more realistic. And you can add more blood or less as you see fit. As you can see, some of it is dripping at the bottom of the cut, which I think looks pretty cool. Well, there you go. There is your cut. Now to remove it, all we do is take a spatula and take the wax off. All you do is throw it in the trash and you are done. And then, of course, we gotta take that liquid latex off our hands, which is the coolest part, I think. There you go. That's our tutorial for today. So if you like that tutorial, give it a thumbs up all the way. And if you like the tutorials from Monster Tutorials, then go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel. I think the subscribe feature is in one of these upper corners. And also, if you have any fancy makeups that you would like to share with us, put a comment down below or share it in our Facebook page. I believe it's Mustard Tutorials, facebook.com/Mustard Tutorials HQ. That's our Facebook page. Come say hi. I love to talk to everybody. And like I said, give it a like, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.